Airports were strange places. Thousands of people passed through them every day, carrying stories no one else noticed, dreams beginning, dreams ending, and lives quietly changing between arrival and departure. Emma Carter never imagined that her life would change in one. She sat alone on a cold metal chair near Gate 47 at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, her suitcase upright beside her like a silent companion. The departure board above her blinked relentlessly, but the words she feared most were still there. Flight closed. Her hands trembled slightly as she lowered her phone into her lap. She had checked the screen a dozen times already, hoping for a miracle, an update, a delay, anything. But the truth remained the same. She had missed her flight. Emma pressed her lips together, forcing herself not to cry. She was 32 years old, a project manager at a mid-sized tech firm, and she prided herself on being composed. Yet in that moment, surrounded by hurried footsteps and rolling luggage, she felt completely small. This trip wasn't a vacation. It was a job interview in Seattle, her one real chance to escape a company that had quietly started laying people off. She had woken up early, planned everything carefully, and still, one delayed rideshare had unraveled it all. How could one small delay change an entire life's direction? She exhaled slowly and stared at the floor, trying to gather herself. That was when a calm voice broke through the noise. Long day. Emma looked up, startled. The man standing in front of her appeared to be in his early 40s, dressed simply in a navy jacket and jeans. He held a paper coffee cup in one hand and a boarding pass in the other. There was nothing remarkable about him, no expensive watch, no rushed expression, just a quiet presence. Yeah, Emma replied hesitantly. He nodded, glancing at the departure board, then back at her. Missed flight. She gave a small, defeated smile. By 7 minutes. He winced sympathetically. That hurts. Emma expected him to walk away after that. Most people did. Airports weren't places for conversations, just passing glances and temporary politeness. But he didn't move. Instead, he asked, "Where were you headed?" "Seattle." He raised an eyebrow slightly. "Interview." Emma froze for a split second. "How did you?" He smiled faintly. The nervous tapping. The suit jacket folded neatly on top of the suitcase. "I've been there." Something in his tone made her relax. "Yes," she admitted. It was important. He took a sip of his coffee, thinking. Then he said something she didn't expect. "Come with me." Emma blinked. "I'm sorry." "The airline counter," he clarified. "Sometimes they can squeeze you onto a later flight. Especially if you're polite and persistent." "I already tried," she said softly. "They said everything's full." He shrugged. "Let's try again." There was no pressure in his voice, no insistence, just quiet confidence. Emma hesitated, then stood up. At that point, she had nothing to lose. They walked together toward the counter. He let her speak while he stood slightly behind her, offering nothing more than a reassuring nod now and then. After several minutes of typing and checking, the airline agent sighed. "There is one seat," she said slowly. "But it's on a flight leaving in 40 minutes. You'd need to run." Emma's heart leapt. "I'll take it. There's a change fee," the agent continued. $480. Emma's breath caught. She didn't have that kind of money available, not on such short notice. Her savings were already stretched thin. I understand," Emma said quietly, forcing a smile. "Thank you for checking." She turned away from the counter, the brief spark of hope already fading. But before she could take a second step, the man behind her spoke. "I'll cover it." Emma spun around. "What?" He was already handing his card to the agent. "Sir," the agent said, surprised. "Are you sure?" "Yes," he replied calmly. Emma's mind raced. No, I can't let you do that. You don't even know me." He finally looked at her directly, his expression steady. "I know enough." The agent processed the payment, printed the boarding pass, and slid it across the counter. "You're all set," she said. Emma stared at the paper in disbelief. "I'll pay you back," Emma said quickly, turning to him. "I promise. I can get your number, He shook his head gently. "No need. But, consider it a gift," he said. "Or better yet, a loan you repay to someone else someday." Her eyes filled with tears she could no longer control. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what this means to me." He smiled, but there was a trace of sadness behind it. "Actually," he said softly, "I think I do." He checked his watch. You should go. Gate 32 is a long walk. Emma clutched the boarding pass, then hesitated. At least tell me your name. He paused for a moment, then said, Daniel. Emma, she replied. They shared a brief, quiet look, two strangers connected by a moment neither would forget. Then he turned and walked away. Emma ran. As she dashed through the terminal, one question burned in her mind. Who really was Daniel? And why did he help me like that? The interview in Seattle went better than she had ever imagined. 2 weeks later, she received the call. She had the job. Her life changed quickly after that. New city, new apartment, new sense of stability. Yet through all of it, she never forgot Daniel. She often thought about him. Wondered who he was. Why he helped her without hesitation. And whether she would ever see him again. Could life really send you back the same people twice? Or was that just a story we told ourselves? Years passed. Emma grew into her role, eventually becoming a department director. She volunteered regularly, donated quietly, mentored young professionals, always remembering Daniel's words, repay it to someone else. One rainy afternoon, nearly 6 years later, Emma sat in a small airport cafe in Boston, waiting for her connecting flight. As she stirred her coffee, her eyes drifted to the next table. And her heart stopped. The man sitting there looked older, more tired, but unmistakably familiar. Daniel, she said, barely believing it. He looked up, confused at first, then stunned. Emma. They laughed in disbelief, the years collapsing into seconds. They talked for nearly an hour. About life. About choices. About how small moments could echo for years. Finally, Emma reached into her bag and placed an envelope on the table. What's this? Daniel asked. She smiled. Open it. Inside was a cashier's check, far more than the money he had once spent. Daniel's eyes widened. Emma, I didn't help you for this. I know, she said gently. You helped me when I needed it most. This isn't repayment. It's continuation. He swallowed hard. Why did you help me that day? Emma asked softly. Daniel looked down at his hands. Because years before that, he said, I was the one sitting alone in an airport, and someone did the same for me. Emma smiled, tears in her eyes. And in that crowded airport cafe, two lives quietly confirmed a simple truth.